Hey, it's Dr. Cody Rall with Tech for Psych with part 2 of the 2019 Psychiatry Innovation Lab in San Francisco at the American Psychiatric Association Annual Meeting. Every year, entrepreneurs across the world apply through YouTube videos for a chance to compete in a Shark Tank-style pitch event called the Psychiatry Innovation Lab. Here you will learn from finalists that are solving some of mental health's grandest challenges through their innovative ideas and companies. In this video, you'll see what finalists learned from their feedback sessions and hear talks from our Alumni Award winner, innovation leaders, and the president of the American Psychiatric Association herself, Alta Stewart. And of course, the announcement of this year's awards to include a $10,000 grand prize. Thanks to our sponsors, Novotel Psychiatry, Paratherapeutics, Takeda, and Otsuka America Pharmaceuticals Incorporated.
Welcome to the final pitches for the 2019 Psychiatry Innovation Lab. So for those of you who are new, this is the final presentation. Our finalists have given a set of their initial presentation and they got feedback from our panel of expert judges. They then now have spent the past hour working with innovation leaders and audience members to improve their pitch, and now what you're going to be seeing is the final pitch. They're going to have 2 minutes to give you their pitch, and then you as the audience are going to get to vote, because at the very end we're going to be awarding an Audience Choice Award because of you. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to get your phone, your laptop, your tablet, any electronic device, to get it out and go to sync.freeman.com/MHIZ. That's sync.freeman.com/MHIZ, stands for Mental Health Innovation Zone. This is how you're going to vote. It's right here on the screen. So the way you're going to vote, it's a 1 through 100 scale. You just use your finger to decide what score you're going to give them. After each contestant gives their 2-minute pitch, you're going to have exactly 30 seconds to vote, and then we're going to close the voting. So you need to be on it. I'm going to say, let's begin voting. That's when you open it up. I'm going to say close voting, and then it's done. After the close of the voting, our esteemed panel of judges is going to have 2 minutes to give the final thoughts on what they think about the startup company. And so you're really going to get to learn from the judges as their final insights into mental health innovation. After that, we're going to hear from our innovation leaders who have come from all around the country to share their insights with us. Then we're going to have a discussion we're going to learn about Otsuka Pharmaceutical America Incorporated, the sponsor of the Psychiatry Innovation Lab. And then we finally will have the presentation of awards. So I'm going to say one more time to remind everyone to sign up, sync.freeman.com/MHIZ. Now we're going to have a really rapid session of hearing all of this, so get ready. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it. Oh, and finalists, I just pass the microphone to each other, okay? Okay. James Lott.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful experience, really. I want to really quickly say thank you to Vijay and Shivani, my leaders. You guys provided tremendous value. So again, my company is Fidgescript, and we're providing essential and life-saving medications online in the way that patients choose to get their medications to make sure that public health truly is accomplished. Our first service is naloxone exchange, and it's an online marketplace where anyone can purchase the life-saving opioid antidote naloxone, receive effective training on how to use it, and we have it shipped straight to their door. Today, I'm happy to announce we are live in Texas. Anyone in the state of Texas, whether you or a loved one, can purchase this life-saving medication, and we ship it to you. Some of the questions we got earlier, I needed more professionals' opinions to provide better details to that, because these are really great questions. One of the questions is, how do we attain our value and our leverage of our company and our mission? And essentially the fact that we focus specifically on essential and life-saving medications, we will become the experts in that. Whether it's naloxone for opioid overdose, buprenorphine for treatment of overdose, or for treatment of substance use, or even something like EpiPen we are going to learn exactly how our patients choose to get those medications, and we'll keep scaling until we're really good and we're in all 50 states. So we're effectively going to be going the public health approach to bridge the gaps to these kinds of things. Secondly, how do payers get to us? Whether it be actual payer, insurance company, whether it be government, or whether it be the customers, we'll have individualized models for each of them. And then lastly, how do we get information to patients? We're basically, right now, we'll just provide education, what you can find on...
And now voting begins. 30 seconds to vote. The Naloxone Exchange, James Lott, who asked his Tinder date to fund his company and was successful. 3, 2, 1. Okay. And actually, I want James to come back on stage for the feedback, and then, yes. Judges. Get James back on stage. Judges' feedback.
So James, I think that online pharmacy makes a lot of sense. I think you could do a lot more though thinking about how you're actually going to execute on this. And I think just saying you're going to get, be the expert on it. EpiPen is a different thing than if we need to get antibiotics to people because there's a flu outbreak or whatever it is. I think it's a different answer each time. And I just think it's some place you should spend some time thinking about really what is this business model. It could get wiped out on naloxone if people start giving it away and you just walk into the pharmacy and pick it up, for example, right? So just something I think you should have in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just to build on that a little bit, it just seems like you're trying to expand quickly. Seems like maybe it's a good idea to learn a lot from Texas before you expand too quickly. It's just one of my initial thoughts.
I think something for a flu outbreak would actually be really good, and I do believe we are going to online pharmacies, but I think you were possibly going to answer this question about the patient and the clinician and that relationship. And we have an opioid crisis because of the accessibility, right, of a lot of these medications. And I think you need to answer those questions about you're making the accessibility and immediacy of more medications. And so understanding, what that means for the patient and the doctor and where they fit in would be something good to be able to articulate.
That said, I think the public health piece of this is so significant. And so I think, to your point, when you think about your business model, that public health and effort that you have available to you in terms of contributing to is so significant. So the nugget that you have is something probably brilliant, but how to operationalize it is where the focus is.
Thank you, James.
Thank you all.
Naloxone Exchange, tackling one of the biggest problems in our country right now.
Hi, so as a reminder, we're building Rall, a woman's one-stop shop for mental health care. The primary feedback we feel like we got out of this session is that we're tackling a lot at once. And so as a result, we really want to hyper-focus on a specified problem and bring a solution to that before we expand to the many other amenities.
So the problem that we're hyper-focusing on is that the urban millennial woman can't find the right therapist for them.
And our solution is that, as you saw in the presentation, we have 6 primary reasons that millennial women in New York City go to therapy. And so we're going to find 3 therapists in New York who already provide great care in these 6 areas and create a breather, a temporary space, redesign it in the way that we've discussed, and provide therapy in that space.
And as table stakes, we are providing the basic things that people have come to expect with the modern retail experience. So basic tech like scheduling, not fancy, nothing too much, but that makes it easy for them to access the care that they need.
Comparable to One Medical's model. Actually on time this time.
You have 50 seconds left. What would you like to add? Is there anything that you want to share with the judges that you didn't get to in the first part of the presentation?
I guess we didn't get a chance to go through our last few slides, so it might be important to explain what our backgrounds are and what expertise we bring. Academically speaking, we talked about I studied math at Stanford, then clinical psychology at Columbia. Rachel studied econ and design at Northwestern, and professionally speaking, I was at IDEO working on lowering.
Pause time.
We hope that you will join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. for another great day in the exhibit hall. Thank you very much and have a great evening.
Got it, everyone? Okay, good. Should we restart the timer?
Professionally speaking, I was at IDEO working on lowering the rates of depression. Rachel was at Uber. She launched Uber Eats and Uber China. And then together we worked at City Block, where we launched City Block's first clinic in Brooklyn. And there we built the brick and mortar clinic, technology that improved care, and the actual care model, which gives us experience to build Real.
Fabulous. Thank you. Okay, guys, voting begins. For those of you who are new, sync.freeman.com/MHIZ. Vote away for the Audience Choice Award for the 2019 Psychiatry Innovation Lab, sponsored by Otsuka Pharmaceutical America Inc. 3, 2, 1. Done. Okay, judges.
So I guess one of my questions is what about the rural woman? So I live in the state of Maine, number 10 in, lack of care for individuals with mental health. Have you thought about how to bridge that gap?
So down the line, we really do want Real to be for everyone. And so we're exploring options down the line for how we can actually do something like telemedicine to be able to support care for rural populations and suburban populations. We actually have been looking at examples like SoulCycle and Peloton. Peloton is catering to the suburban population by not actually having a physical space. So.
I would just say thank you for addressing the questions. For me, I would love to spend more time on the acquisition costs and the economic model. Super capital intensive business that you guys are getting into. And lifetime revenue of that consumer versus the acquisition cost to bring them into the clinic, I think is going to be a really important lever in your economic model. I also applaud you though of learning, get a location and learn all facets from the acquisition to, really testing the hypothesis that a retail experience will generate affinity, and then the retention. I think really understanding how long that consumer will engage in that wonderfully enhanced experience. I think those are all going to be great inputs to your process.
I would invest in the two of you. I love your passion. I like the idea. If I could give one piece of criticism with that said, when you keep saying Peloton, you're talking about rich people. And when you developed City Block, there were no Pelotons or SoulCycles. And so I would just say you can go after this market first, but I would really talk about real women, and I'm not discounting the women that do Peloton, but they're about 5 to 2% of the population. So whether it's rural or whether it's a single mom at home with 2 kids, they're really struggling and actually should go down those as you decrease in socioeconomic, the actual mental health burdens increase. So while I appreciate your excitement around it, it bothered me every time I kept hearing, and I use Peloton, but I'm not your customer. So I just think that that's important, that you really want to focus. We're really talking about a place for women that feels right. It's got to be more inclusive.
Thank you.
I was just going to highlight, I'm glad that you mentioned your backgrounds a little more, just because there are so many digital behavioral health solutions we've been talking about today, but of course with the real estate play, it's a totally different business model, and so highlighting that a little more, and to both of their points, the economics around it, how to expand to other markets for high need populations, seeing more of that over time when you have more than 2 minutes would be helpful.
Just really quickly, what are the 6 areas that you mentioned?
Yeah, it was eating disorders, career uncertainties, relationships and dating, sexual assault, Jen. Family planning after 30.
I'd just like to reinforce Scott's point that learning in a couple of small prototypes is valuable and is a way to go before you get too big. So there you go.
Thank you. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I see we have a number of new people who have joined. Welcome. This is the 2019 Psychiatry Innovation Lab, and you are in our final presentation. We have an Audience Choice Award, so for those of you who are new, we would love for you to vote on this award. You can do that by getting onto sync.freeman.com/MHIZ. So get out your phone and vote, and in just about half an hour, we'll be awarding that prize. So what you're seeing is our final contestants are giving their pitches, then you're going to vote, and then our panel of judges is sharing their feedback. So thank you for joining us. Okay.
Hi everyone. I would like to start off by just thanking our innovation leaders, Gowri and Elle, as well as all of you for being here with us today. We are MedImmunity, a digital solution to helping physicians thrive. Our values happen to uncannily correspond with the values of the Innovation Lab. We are going to do this through learning and through community. In terms of the concerns that came up in our earlier discussion, I'm going to address them in two major categories. Number one, the business model. We just want to re-emphasize that this is based on a personal experience and our values of caring about one another. This is a not-for-profit model, so we are not looking to make large returns. The second issue that came up was how are we, as our product, different from what's already available in the market? And I'm going to address this by breaking this up into three different things. Need, engagement, and trust. Need. There is a specific demand for this kind of material for medical trainees. We have already been solicited by Yale, by Emory, by Temple for our particular material, and it's already being implemented at Emory. Number two, engagement. We have already successfully done this at our own medical school. We were all connected by this personal experience, and through that, we have an inbuilt base of 600 students who are lifelong clients. And finally, trust, as well as the question of why us? This was our experience, and this is about us. We are the ones who are facing the risk of burnout. Not only that, the four of us happen to be at different stages of the life cycle of training to become psychiatrists. So that actually gives us expertise as well. Thank you for joining us.
Wonderful. Perfectly on time. Voting begins now on MedImmunity. 3, 2, 1. Voting closed. And our judges.
Well, I'd just like to say I love your passion. I mean, it's clearly there. I think the other part of it is that as we learn as caregivers that you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. And the reality is if you can teach that to other students before they get out of medical school, the importance of taking care of themselves, then they will be better physicians. So I just want to say that I think that the mindset that you have in terms of going into this is really, truly impressive. So congratulations for your efforts.
Yeah, I'm encouraged to hear about Yale, Temple, and Emory already engaging you, and so let's get out there and build and try it. So.
Yeah, I would say that you're very passionate, all of you, very emphatic, in fact, about your business model, which is, don't ask me about my business model, which is, interesting, because I think you do have to actually have, even if you're a nonprofit, you have to have a business model, so you need to think about that quite a bit. But I love peer-to-peer. I believe that you really need us to, we need a really solid community, peer support, mental health app, and I really hope you guys succeed in doing that. And I love the focus. I love the focus in taking care of yourself. And hopefully, if if it works in your community, you can extend that elsewhere. So good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
So I kept thinking, as in your first presentation and the second, this is too small, this is too small, this is going to change. Then you said something right at the end that changed my mind. You do have 600 people that can stay with you now forever, right? And so we multiply that out, and you play this forward 10 years, and now we have a lot of people engaging post-medical school. I think that could be an important nugget in growth.
Thank you. I'm just going to add to the sustainability for nonprofits. That's actually been my background, and you really do need to think about that because you can't always rely on funding or thinking about sustainability from that perspective. And so business model is not just how we're going to make money. It really is looking from multiple perspectives, and you know that, and so you'll definitely be able to get there. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next up, we have happygo and our alumni, Sean Christensen, who you will hear from in just a little bit. Little teaser there. 2 minutes on the clock.
Okay. I'm Lindsay, founder of happygo. We took to heart the questions that the judges and the audience asked us, and we agree that the direct-to-consumer market's pretty crowded and that business-to-business is where we're going to focus. We think the ideal place to start would be the police force and law enforcement, and Sean from my table is going to talk about why.
So we know that implicit bias training is a huge thing in the nation, especially to address what's going on with our police officers. And those courses can be anywhere from 90 minutes all the way to a semester long, which is onerous for police officers. So there's a simpler solution with happygo.
Yes, it's very simple. happygo can seamlessly incorporate onto the computers in the cruisers. It can also incorporate onto the police officers' phones themselves, which is training constantly in the background, nonstop, 24/7. The market is proven. We know that the Department of Justice trained 28,000 of their employees last year with implicit bias training. And we also know that the city of Phoenix spent $150,000 on implicit training last year. We feel confident that happygo will work and that we will save lives by implicit bias training. Thank you.
We have 45 seconds.
Oh man, we got all kinds of stuff. Have anything to add?
I think this is one of those critical areas where you know that individuals that are working with the community, they don't have time to actually go through day-to-day training. They get about 16 hours of mediation and community service training during the basic portion of becoming a police officer. So if you have something simple that any department can try, that's really powerful.
Yeah, thanks for that. And they are doing this now. So we know that implicit bias training has been proven. They do this by exposing police officers or different people to different cultures regularly. Also by pairing the different cultures with things that people already love, like puppies or pizza. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will open voting while this announcement is going on. So 30 seconds to vote. Again, for new people, sync.freeman.com/MHIZ, voting for the Audience Choice Award. Okay, and voting closes in 3, 2, 1. I'm just going to pause 1 second. I said at the very beginning that the two biggest values we have here are education and community. And I feel like this is such a beautiful representation of community with Sean coming up. Sean is one of our alumni, and to come up and get to share the stage with you, I think that just really represents how you're working together and adding so much value. So I hope this continues. Really, really beautiful. So judges, please take it away.
Well, I think you definitely took our feedback of focus. I kind of feel like you went really broad down to fairly narrow, and I don't have a lot of expertise in that segment. I guess my question is, are you passionate about that? I know, Sean, you are. I can hear that, but I worry that this is the next advisor that came in and kind of said, here's what you need to focus on. And if in fact this is the segment, then make sure you surround yourself with tons of expertise on an ongoing basis as you go forward. But I'm just curious, because I didn't see law enforcement on your original deck, but now it kind of comes out. Are you connected to this personally?
She actually talked about this as the reason why she was interested to begin with, right?
Yes, absolutely. And my advisor, my very original neighbor, who's a social researcher, is an implicit bias researcher, and that's what kind of brought this to my attention. That's when I noticed that I kind of had the physiological response that I didn't think I had. Does that make sense? So this is what I'm passionate about. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm all about the focus and specific niche first, because you can always go from there. But if you're everything to everyone, then you're really, of course, nothing to no one.
Yeah, thank you. That's been a really big challenge, is because there's so many ideas and so many uses for this that it's so easy that it's hard to stay focused.
So having been married to a law enforcement officer for 35 years, would you anticipate that police officers would download this onto their own phones? Is that, how are you envisioning this?
We think that we would approach the law enforcement agencies themselves and get them to opt in and kind of test it, compare it to what they're doing currently and see if there's better outcomes.
Okay, so again, I think from the operational piece of this, would have to be mapped out. So how does that, and I'm not quite sure I understand how
I think how it would flow is onto their cruiser screens. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all the feedback, guys. It's been an honor. Thanks.
Next up, caldashealth. Our neurosurgeon joining the world of psychiatry.
Hello, pleasure again being here today. So our company caldashealth focuses on simplifying behavioral health data capture, visualization, and analytics. And I thought diving into an actual use case where we have impact would really help make it more tangible. So a patient usually right now shows up to the office barely on time. They're throwing a bunch of papers. A lot of time they're not able to finish up a lot of this questionnaires and scales. And a lot of time the physician is spending valuable face-to-face time with the patient actually trying to complete some of this paperwork. And not only do you not have that data and objective data to start making these clinical decisions with the patient also feels more disengaged because you're trying to finish up things that should have been done before the appointment and stuff that you want to have in front of you that you can take action on. And that's where we come into play, is to really solve that set of problems. And so you're improving that quality of provider-patient interaction, putting it back to empowering the clinician to use that data and maximize that patient face-to-face time so the patient feels that they're actually being paid attention to, not just ending up as a piece of the chart as somebody's task list to do the documentation and move on. So what's unique about us is we sit at the intersection of deep clinical knowledge, being a physician from a family of physicians, and that technical expertise of being in computer science, having that industry background, actually coming from UW-Madison, which obviously is where one of the largest EMRs comes from. So the things that we're able to accomplish come out of that nexus of our ability to build things with the technology around the provider workflow first, not engineering down to provider. And longer term, our adaptability to the platform is that it's so flexible. It's really where practices can translate their workflows and needs into the platform. Not that they have to learn how to use the platform, but the platform adapts to the way that they run their practice and into the future.
Great. And now, voting begins. 30 seconds on the clock. And for those of you who are active on Twitter, our hashtag is MHIZ. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe when the judges are giving their final thoughts, something really moves you and you want to share with the Twitterverse. We welcome that. Okay, judges.
I'd love to see a plan or the next steps where you identify a handful of healthcare providers and then test your system and learn and then build from there. I believe that's what you mentioned, but I just want to reinforce that that's feels like the right next step.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the version 2.0 behavioral health focus came out of provider usage of version 1.0, and 2.0 has been in people's hands since early Q1 actually. So we are learning constantly about how to improve the workflow of the system and some of the features. So that's absolutely the model we work on.
Yeah, I would say, I think two thoughts come to mind, and one goes back to what I asked you before around the validation of scales. The ability to do that downstream, I think, is a value proposition for you, potentially, and especially as I think about clinical research. So our challenge in collecting in trials for psychiatric indications is we use those scales all the time. It's very difficult to get that information, et cetera, and the ability to map that to EHRs, et cetera, downstream would be quite significant for the clinical research kind of realm of what we do before they ever even get into the, the treatment of traditional treatment. So just something to think about, validation of scales and how you potentially could leverage this in the clinical research space.
I think that, so you mentioned that a case study, or to make this more tangible, so you would go to a primary care physician and say that this is the tool you could use, and all the other history of patients you've had, you can also integrate that into your platform to make it easy for them to kind of connect the new information with the old information. Is that correct? Right?
So information gathered in our platform can be pushed back into the EMR, certainly, so they still have one continuity of the record, but our data trending visualization and the ability to cross-reference things like objective data to, let's say, journal entries on a specific day, not just the PHQ-9 score, but what their journal entries were, or a goal-oriented list specific to that workflow for that practice, for that patient. We can do that in our system, so they like using our system for those purposes, knowing that the data still ends up back in the EMR. Does that?
Yeah, that's great. And I think one of the things I like about what you're doing is that it's actually practical. I mean, I think a lot of clinicians actually need something easy like a survey to have it, it's useful. Some of the other ideas out there aren't, they're not well tested, but I think what yours is that it's already a practical solution. So I like that.
It's a surgical attitude.
Thank you.
Always workflow.
Wonderful. Thanks. Great. Our two final contestants. And one more, judges, because there's noise, if you could please put the microphone pretty close to your mouth, and contestants as well, pretty close to your mouth. For people who are new, think.freeman.com/MHIZ for our two final contestants in the Psychiatry Innovation Lab. Please vote on the Audience Choice Award. Take it away.
First, I'm going to just give you a cheat sheet for some new features. I'm sharing some new features coming down the pike for a preview to the judges. Just to, for those of you who are new and to emphasize what we're about, KBRO is a gamified, evidence-based app designed to build emotional resiliency in adolescence. It does three things. It lets kids know if they're doing okay. It lets them practice self-care skills to become more emotionally resilient, and it gives adults data about how the kids are doing to know when to intervene. Our focus so far on our analytics has really been to focus on efficacy, which means that we have found that after 10 or more uses, that kids see a statistically valid improvement in their MIOK index score. We offer engagement by the ability to invite your friends to play with you. We have daily alerts encouraging kids to use the game, and as you can see from the little page going through, we're regularly adding new features and enhancing gameplay within the app. Our focus really is on the audience that serves kids the most. We're looking at schools, specifically states like California, New York, and Washington, who are thought leaders in addressing mental health care issues within their school districts and have initiatives to do so, or compliance issues they must address. And additionally, we're looking at healthcare providers who need a solution as part of their continuum of care to look at how to reduce the cost of care overall or shorten the amount of care that they need in order to bring kids back to a state of emotional wellness. I think I did it in less than 2 this time.
13 seconds left.
And we have upgrades about every 6 months. I think that's
lovely. Thank you. Okay. And voting begins on You Rock Corp and their product, KBRO. Counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Voting closed. Judges.
Thanks for passing around that Upgrade. So what does the game say if I say I've been bullied at school because of my Southern accent? What's the response?
We actually have a whole entire bully conversation. We ask them if they feel like they can handle it themselves, if they feel like they need help. We use the MIOK score to determine is it a really serious problem because they have a very negative MIOK score or a not so negative score, and we then bifurcate the conversation based on the severity. In some cases, we'll put them forward to services outside of the app to get those kinds of resources, or encourage them to talk to teachers or parents or people they trust and to self-solve these issues. But we also validate the pain that they're dealing with and just give them some ideas about how to strengthen their resolve and how to deal with it themselves.
So just give me an example. Pretend my score is in the middle. They're teasing me because of my Southern accent. What does it say?
Well, middle we wouldn't get. So
I'm really
I'm
sick,
gonna give
or I'm
you-
not. Just give me whatever. What's a possible answer?
So if you had a really negative score, then we're basically going to tell you, that feels really bad. We're really sorry you're going through that experience, and we really want you to get the help that you need. We think it would be really beneficial for you to talk to a resource, and here is a set of tiles, and it's about 6 to 8 different 800 numbers or crisis text line type options where they can reach out to people who are focused on dealing with these kinds of crises, because right now that's not what we're about. So we want to get them to resources that already have established methodologies for how to address those kinds of issues.
Great, thanks.
So we talked a lot about focus here. Well, first of all, I mentioned I love this age group, 9 to 17. I think it's extremely critical that we reach these kids. But it feels like there's a couple things you're going for. You've got to create an amazing, engaging game that competes with Fortnite and all the other things that kids actually, but at the same time, you're also doing this other app which kind of asks questions about their psychological profile and kind of deals with them. It almost seems they could be two separate things where, and the KBRO app actually it reminds me of Wobot, which is an app you can download, and I almost think that kids would actually be playing their games but have KBRO when they need it to, interact with from a psychological level. So just, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like you're going for two different things, and having to be great at both would be hard.
So, 2 seconds. I disagree with the premise about Fortnite. What we have is a virtuous cycle. We use all the information that's shared to basically reinforce positive, good, healthy behavior.
Great. Thank you. And our final contestant, final finalist, who came all the way from Australia to join us.
Hi, Deb. So I thought I'd spend this 2 minutes to talk a little bit more about the structure of the program. I think that's about the Tally Train program. So you may be able to sort of tell I'm not really the type of person who's going to run a marathon anytime soon, but if I decided to, I'd ask a professional to structure a program for me where I start off at short distances, then incrementally get longer. But don't do it every day, have rest days occasionally. The Tally Train program works in exactly the same way. For a lack of a better term, we're essentially exercising cognitive fitness in this case. So the way the program is implemented and designed to be implemented, over that 5-week period, 5 sessions a week are played with 2 rest days. That's how that program works. And through repetition and increasing difficulty in each level and each exercise, that's how you build up that cognitive strength, being able to build consolidate those neural networks that are responsible for attention as a cognitive skill. The reason why we're targeting early childhood, why we've designed the game for early childhood, is because that's the time of life when the human's brain is most willing to adapt, most willing most able to make those connections inside the brain. This is critically important. This is what differentiates us from so many other brain training apps out there, and aside from the research we've got. I wanted to kind of conclude on that, say, I'm not from here, and there is so much that we have to learn in this market, in every market. In fact, every market provides challenges, new laws, new restrictions. We're very, very early into starting to work our way into the US market. And we've still got things to learn about the Australian market and things we can and can't do because it's such a new space. We're definitely looking for partners to help us along the way. I just wanted to reinforce that. So thank you very much.
Wonderful. Final voting, everyone. think.freeman.com/MHIZ. Get your phone out, get your laptop out, and vote. Voting is ended. Final comments from the judges.
I would say a couple things. One, I appreciate your humbleness. That said, I think you and the company punch above your weight class. I think you've got some really interesting things going on. You have 1 to 2 peer-reviewed studies, which will be tremendously important as you work with payers, particularly in the U.S. You've got traction in a couple different segments, and thirdly, you've got a wonderful attitude in terms of getting learning partners to really help you establish that beachhead. I think the one area that, and you mentioned it, is really the retention. What happens at scale with lots of users, and is there a erosion of that, and how does that impact the overall efficacy of the platform? But I think you've got a lot of good stuff going on.
Thank you. That's super kind. Thank you.
Yeah, I would add to that the compliance piece that you talked about earlier, because as we know, compliance or adherence with medication is, obviously a huge challenge. We can't improve outcomes if people aren't taking their medicine. The same as you're not going to be able to improve outcomes. So thinking about how do you solve for that? Working through the schools or working through the parents, working through the kids or reminders or whatever, that compliance piece is going to be critical to give you the outcomes that can exist.
I think a lot of that's around, the industry is evolving very quickly, and the more and more companies like us, hopefully not too many companies like us, more and more companies that are delivering digital solutions to health problems, and we're going to become more open to these sort of things. But the onus is on companies right now like us, as well as specialists out there, people who are liberally minded, to be able to help educate the general public that this is a thing that works, it's an alternative, it's safe, it's not harmful, it's non-invasive, it can complement a whole bunch of other things that's going on in your life at this moment in time. It might not work for everyone, let's be clear, it's a game that relies on visual aesthetics, so it's probably not going to be appropriate for every child with an attention difficulty. But let's give it a go, and this is the second option out there. And as I said, the onus is on us to be able to actually provide that content about digital therapeutics, the benefits behind that, but then also attention actually as a key cognitive skill that we really need to learn more about.
Wonderful. Thank you. Round of applause to all the contestants. That culminates the final pitches. So at this time, I'd like to ask all of the innovation leaders to come to the stage. We'll ask the judges to please step behind the stage to have your final deliberation. So I'm sure your hearts are starting to race, everyone, as the judges are going to make their decision. The judges are going to be deciding who will win the $10,000 grand prize, thanks to Otsuka Pharmaceutical America Incorporated. They are so generously awarding that prize to us. So thank you, judges, as you make that big decision. Now, we scoured the entire country for the most brilliant and committed people to mental health innovation, and that's how we came to our fabulous panel of innovation leaders. You are going to hear from them. They have about a minute each to introduce themselves, and they're going to tell you about themselves, what brought them to mental health innovation, and why they're here today. So we have a microphone for them, and we'll ask them to please pass that on to the next person. So starting with Mimi Winsberg, who actually was a judge in our inaugural innovation lab and really helped us get this off the ground from the very beginning. So please come to center stage and then pass it on to your next innovation leader, and we'll just keep it going. Okay.
Hi, Mimi Winsberg. Been in practice in psychiatry for over 20 years and have been in the digital health world for maybe 5 now. Met Nina at Lyra Health way back when we did the first APA Innovation Lab, and I'm currently an on-site psychiatrist at Facebook, treating the employees, and also Chief Medical Officer at Brightside Health, which is a digital health company treating depression and anxiety.
Thanks, Mimi. I'm Nicola Coma, This is my inaugural Innovation Lab and APA session. I've been in the digital health sector about 10 years in a variety of spaces with patients, payers, employers, providers, all the P's. And before that was just in regular tech. And I currently run product marketing at Ginger, which is a virtual health system that is always recruiting therapists and psychiatrists. I'll hand it on to my next innovation leader.
So yeah, my name is Vijay Chandra. I am doing my psychiatry residency second year at Bronx Lebanon Hospital. So I was looking at APA annual meeting. I said I want to do something really meaningful. So and I came across Innovation Zone, and that was it. Because I believe one of the most difficult things, bravest thing to do is to be an entrepreneur. One point in my life, I used to have a small internet cafe. I closed the business after 6 months, but I learned a lot. So being able to work with my colleague Shivani and Jerry and coaching James was awesome experience. And to see everybody else also coming with new products with the challenges that we have with psychiatry. So thank you, and I look forward to coming back.
Hi, I'm Shivani. I hope you've had a really nice afternoon. I know we all have. I'm a psychiatrist from London, and I'm training at the Maudsley, and I'm going to complete my child and adolescent psychiatry training. I'm really interested in digital innovation and mental health. I think it's a great opportunity for various stakeholders to come together to really make sustainable changes and differences, which I really think mental health needs right now. I've been involved in a few things this year. So I was on the Hack Mental Health Committee, and some of them are over here. They're all coming up. But also the Digital Innovation Mental Health Committee, and we've got a conference coming up in the summer as well. I'm really interested in kind of various things looking at digital social prescription, but also more widely thinking about how we can ensure that communities can be a part of this process, making sure that we're making kind of safe decisions and really engaging people who have been kind of working in these clinical spheres for a long time. So if you want to have a chat afterwards, I'd be very happy to talk. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day.
Hi everyone, my name is Ann Wu. My background is in management consulting and business operations, and this is my co-partner Steven.
Hey everyone, I'm Steven. I used to work at Google doing product management. Ann and I are both co-founders of Hack Mental Health, which Shivani just told you a little bit about. It's a community of thousands of folks interested in the intersection of mental health and technology. And we bring together technologists, software engineers, product managers, psychiatrists, psychologists, from a variety of events. We most recently hosted the world's largest mental health hackathon. And you can find out more about Hack Mental Health at our website, hackmentalhealth.care. Thanks.
I'm actually just going to give another plug. I was fortunate enough to get to be a judge at Hack Mental Health just a few weeks ago. It was one of the most phenomenal experiences I've ever been at. There were 400 people who came from all across the country, even all around the world, to be at this event. And so I think everyone who is here, the exact same interest, you would absolutely love this event, and just want to commend you guys for what you've done as building such an amazing innovation community. And you know, I said from the very beginning, the values we have here are about learning and community, so beautifully exemplified. And so I think for us to work together and continue to build this, that's really what this is about. So thank you guys for your vision and what you've done, and just wonderful work.
Education services for students who are 13 to 18. Really brought me interested in education, helping people. And then in America, my career started as a product manager in different tech companies. And Hack Mental Health is what brought me to mental health industry. And I was most recently a product manager at Thrive Global, which is a Series B startup company also focused on wellness industry. Right now, I'm actually looking at opportunities in China in mental health space. So if any of you are interested, please come and talk to me. Thank you.
Hi
Hi everyone, I am not with Hack Mental Health. I am actually, surprisingly, my name is Gowrie Argon. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm one of the co-founders and chief clinical officer of Stanford Brainstorm, along with Neha Chaudhary and Nina Vasan. We are the first, academic mental health innovation laboratory. And so my interest in innovation started a long, long time ago. I think all of us are part of the team that originally organized the Innovation Lab, so it's awesome to see how it's grown over the past few years. Really exciting. And essentially focus on, again, community and learning. This fall we're starting the first kind of academic course on mental health innovation, so all the things we've learned from opportunities like this can be passed on to the next generation. Not generation, so yeah, I guess. So thank you all for coming.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I guess I would be the next generation. I'm a medical student and I'm an MBA student at NYU with plans to go into psychiatry. Very interested in mental health and innovation, specifically regarding how we solve mental health issues in organizations, whether it be at medical schools, residency programs, or even in the workplace and other industries. That's an area I'm really passionate about. At NYU, I serve on the Dean's Steering Committee for Student Wellness, and we develop mental health solutions at our school and try to troubleshoot all those issues. So if anybody's interested in that area, would love to chat, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Bye.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Carolyn Green, and I am a clinical psychologist by training. I wear two different hats. One is I work for the Department of Veterans Affairs, and I manage their program of web-based self-help. So we have a really sort of innovative portfolio of digital mental health resources that I manage, and that's pretty exciting. And then my other hat is academic. I'm a professor at the University of Arkansas's Medical School, and I do research into the efficacy and effectiveness of digital health solutions. And I also mentor and coach faculty members who want to start using digital products in their mental health care delivery. This is my second year at in this program, and it's so exciting. So for those of you who had a good time this year, please make sure to come back next year, and we'll keep building community. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Vidhi Raval, and I'm actually a wireless engineer in the tech space here. So my entire concept of mental health innovation is from the perspective of tech and how all the engineers view all these things. So it's great to see people here and interact with psychiatrists and see what they think about the mental health innovation space. And I was actually a participant at the Hack Mental Health event, and it was amazing to be a part of that and learn more things around there. So yeah, please look at that website and see you guys around.
Hey everyone, don't worry, I'm the last one. I'm Dr. Clare Purvis. I'm a clinical psychologist by training. I was previously the head of clinical product and service at a mental health technology company here in San Francisco. And I'm now at Stanford studying healthcare innovation using technology more broadly. In my other life, I am the founder of the Women Entrepreneurs and Leaders Laboratory. We are the first professional organization that's committed to supporting and scaling women's clinical and scientific leadership in the digital health industry. So for all of you who are women with advanced training in psychiatry or other healthcare professions who are interested in learning about career trajectories in the digital space, I would love to talk with you. And we have a really wonderful, supportive, and engaging community here in the Bay Area and nationally that would also love to connect with you. So please feel free to come and talk to me about that. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, innovation leaders, for all of your commitment to helping the finalists and growing our community. Well, we are in the final moments of the 2019 Psychiatry Innovation Lab. We are about to present our awards in just a few minutes, but really the award to all of us is someone joining us right now. It is a distinct honor for me to introduce Dr. Alta Stewart, the president of the American Psychiatric Association. This is actually a really personal, oh, and sorry, let me ask the judges to come back to stage actually before doing that. Please come back to stage, judges. Dr. Stewart, this is deeply personal to me because Dr. Stewart has been a personal inspiration and mentor to me from the very first time I entered the American Psychiatric Association about 4 years ago. For those of you who have been there from the beginning, you heard about how the Psychiatry Innovation Lab began 4 years ago, and what you're seeing here today is really a reflection of her investment in all of us and believing in us and helping guide us through the process of what it means to be a part of this organization and be leaders in psychiatry. And so it really, a commitment to mentorship and training the next generation is deeply, deeply appreciated. And this, when we launched the Innovation Zone just yesterday, she was telling us of how proud she was of what we've been able to do and what we're seeing. And this quote, Isaac Newton, of how I was able to see further because of this, I was standing on the shoulders of giants. Alta Stewart is that giant. And it's really just such an honor to get to be a part of your life. And I'm so, so grateful for everything you have done. Thank you, Dr. Stewart.
Thank you. It is not often that a woman who has no children is as proud as a mother. And I am so proud of her. When I first met her, I knew she was something special, someone special. I didn't know quite how special, but watching what you have helped bring to life, on behalf of the American Psychiatric Association, let me just say a heartfelt thank you to you, Nina, for everything you've done. I'm so proud, and you should be very proud, because as I just whispered to her, she has lived my dream. When we set out to create the program for this annual meeting, you know the theme: disrupt, include, engage, innovate. Well, I'm just focused on the 4 words right now, but thank you. Thank you for that note, Director. But the innovate part, I thought would be driven by people like you. And I have not been disappointed at all. And we're just getting started with the real meeting, remember. I mean, we've still got a couple of days of sessions to go, and people who want to hear more about what you've been doing. When I stood here the other day and welcomed you, I knew something special was going to happen. And the energy remains as high now in this group as it was when we opened up for business the other day. I've been listening on the sidelines here to some of the things that have been going on. I've heard about the what was it, the Shark Tank, y'all have another name for it. I'll just always call it the Shark Tank. And for those who were at the opening session last night, you heard me talk about being supportive of the next generation in this profession. I am dead serious about that, folks. Innovation is going to be a cornerstone of the future of psychiatry, and you folks who have been here working in this space and are interested in being in this space are going to be the leaders of that movement. So whatever I can do in my final 49 hours as president, not that I'm counting, and whatever I can do in my role as an immediate past president, which I am told has a bit of influence when it comes to getting things done, and whatever I can do as just a private member of the APA who supports the cutting edge, the leading edge of where our profession is going, Nina will call on me to be helpful wherever I can. I just want to finally say thank you for your engagement, for your involvement, for your commitment. This may be a personal passion to you that you've been, working on and doing things with, but for me, it's evidence of commitment to this association, its members, and the people we serve. So you have my deepest gratitude for the work that you're doing, for the thinking you're putting into this work, for the outcomes you're achieving by doing this work, and for just being here and being engaged. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Stewart. So now it's time for the awards. The first award we would like to present is the Alumni Award. So this is now, as I said, the 5th Innovation Lab, and as I said, community was something that's deeply important to us. So everyone who's here today, all the finalists, we want to continue engaging with you. And so the Alumni Award is something for us to be able to continue engaging and learning what alumni are doing, keeping up with them, and seeing how the Innovation Lab has continued to help them grow. So I'd like to welcome 2 members of the APA's Committee on Innovation, Dr. Neha Chowdhury and Dr. Harris Iyer, who will help present the Alumni Award.
Hi everyone, my name is Neha Chowdhury. I'm a child psychiatrist at Mass General Hospital and co-founder of Brainstorm, which is Stanford's new lab for innovation, brain health innovation and entrepreneurship. If you're interested in learning more about the lab, please come find myself or Dr. Gary Aragam or Nina, and we'll talk more about that afterwards. We're going to be presenting the Alumni Award, which, as Nina says, goes to the team that presented at the Innovation Lab last year and has made the most meaningful progress since then.
Great, thank you, Neha. Thank you, everyone. So I'm Harris. I'm a member of the Innovation Committee. I'm Chief Medical Officer of CNS Dose, which is a pharmacogenetics company, also entrepreneur in residence at the Texas Medical Center's Innovation Institute. But without further ado, I'd like to announce the winner. It's Sean Christensen of Cognova. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sean Christensen. I'm a resident in psychiatry at MUSC and the CEO and co-founder of Cognova. Our company is focused on improving the quality of life for patients with dementia and their caregivers through an online game-like platform that connects them with powerful music, movies, TV shows, and important cultural media that goes back decades. You can think Pinterest and Pandora combined. And our goal in being back at the lab this year is connecting with partners that can take us to the next step. We want to build a database of behavioral and physiologic data so that you can get a personal profile on a patient that's so in tune with what's meaningful to them that if you give that to any caregiver, they can go from knowing a little about that person to knowing enough to be able to relate to them, to be able to take care of them, and to be able to make meaningful interactions. And we know that better patients mean better caregivers. And that's one of our big focuses. What are the partnerships we can make here with either analytics firms or payers or pharmaceutical companies to figure out how can we empower the caregiver to have control over some of the most difficult life moments that they experience, while also creating a therapeutic and meaningful intervention for dementia patients, something that's engaging and something that's usable any time of day. So I'd love to talk further with anyone who has some ideas about future suggestions, partnerships, even funding, and I'm looking forward to making a lot of connections here.
Thank you very much, Harris. When I received the notification from Nina, I was also given a chance to share my thanks and a couple updates on our company, Cognova. So on behalf of my co-founder, Dr. Victor Hirth, I first want to thank the American Psychiatric Association, Otsuka Pharmaceuticals, Dr. Nina Vossen, and Dr. Carolyn Green, our innovation leader from last year, and the judges and presenters and the innovation leaders from whenever we were there. And for those who weren't here in 2018, my company is Cognova. So we focus on improving the quality of life and mood and anxiety for Alzheimer's patients and caregivers through a game-like online platform that provides reminiscence therapy, where you can connect them with TV shows, movies, music, effectively their personal culture in an easy and accessible method. Now, our goal is to build a targeted profile that's so in tune with who they are that you could give that profile to any caregiver and they can go from knowing very little about that person to knowing enough to make a meaningful intervention within minutes. And we want to give those caregivers peace of mind, and we also want to give staff something easy to do whenever they transition to assisted living facilities. Now, what I've just told you was just the idea before the Innovation Lab in 2018. With the momentum that we gained from winning the Human Rights Award and the funding, we were able to complete and build a functioning phase 1 product. We received immense feedback. Oh, thank you. Thank you. we received immense feedback, and part of the ethos of the Human Rights Award was echoed in the principles from Stuart Williams. He led me through an impact entrepreneurship class that I completed over this past year, emphasizing making a profit while making a difference. And we received feedback from Carolyn about our business model. So you get a ton of feedback here. And we changed it to something simple, just a subscription model with an easy fee and affiliate marketing that we can get from family members whenever they want to purchase memorabilia. We also received feedback from judges saying, how can you turn this into a cultural collection? So that's what we did. We recruited 3 student interns who are motivated to engage community members to make Cognova's cultural collection more robust of personal and historical events, of ways of life, and generating original content. Now, originally our goal was incorporating copyrighted material, and we've started the licensing agreement conversations to be able to include that. One of the judges also from last year emphasized the potential for early intervention. You get, again, great feedback. And while we're not there yet, we have made progress with physiologic data to the point where we've moved forward even further toward our non-provisional patent, and we were able to identify a wearable vendor that can actually achieve the goals that we need to engage our Alzheimer's patients. Now, we've also made progress as a cause marketing campaign, because by engaging patients early, you can offer them memories before meds. Effectively, when they're agitated, you can give them something like a song to calm them down. Ultimately, we've been able to talk with the FDA and the National Institute on Aging and guidance in pursuing software as a medical device. That's our ultimate goal with Cognova. And we know part of that next step can be an SBIR or STTR grant. Like many of the folks here, we know that digital health is evolving rapidly, and part of that involves embracing collaboration. So when I say we want us to be a cultural collection, I mean we want Cognova to be available to anyone in any language in every culture across the globe for the 50 million families living with dementia. So I'd love to provide more information on that if I can, and talk with those who could offer any guidance, partnerships, or funding when we have a chance. Thank you again, Lab.
Thank you, Sean. Next, we have our innovation leaders to present the winner of the Impact Award.
Hello again. We know you're ready for a really long speech, so we've prepared one.
We are here to deliver the Impact Award. So the innovations leaders met as a group to determine which of the companies that presented had the most impact. That could be reach, that could be access, and the collective decision was to give the Impact Award to UROC for providing both accessibility to an important audience that's in need,
and we also thought about potential to kind of start a movement, especially as you think about the video game industry and how much we hear in conversation in industry today about the need in that population. So congratulations to UROC.
So David will be taking pictures, so please, yeah.
In the middle.
As someone who spent their lifetime in Silicon Valley in the tech industry, I cannot begin to tell you how fabulous it's been to have this exposure to the healthcare industry to help inform the work that I'm doing to make a huge impact on the happiness of adolescents worldwide, and especially in our backyard. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. And to let you know, actually for all the finalists, to please remember to come, stay afterwards, and let's get Austin to raise his hand. To collect your awards, you will need to talk to Austin and fill out some paperwork on your awards, so please remember to stay afterwards to get your awards. Wonderful. And now, thank you audience for voting, we have Alta Stewart, President of the American Psychiatric Association, to present our Audience Choice Award.
Thank you again. Well, it is my distinct honor to present the Audience Choice Award to Alex Barty, Tali company.
Picture.
Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting pictures.
Okay, let's do the same couple more.
Oh,
You
man.
can stay.
Oh, cool. This is unbelievable.
It was worth the flight.
Yeah.
Alex came from Australia, everyone.
Thank you so much to everyone here for voting. Thanks to the judges for your amazing feedback. Thank you and the whole team for putting this together. This is, man, we need to do this in Australia, I think. This is pretty cool. Yeah, this means a heck of a lot for our company. It means a heck of a lot for digital health in Australia as well. To actually, you know, we're actually doing cool things, and this is, yeah, I can't wait to go back and just tell everyone. Actually, I'm just going to send them a text. It'll be fine. Thank you.
Congratulations. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Yeah, I'm going to ask Debbie Prophet from Otsuka and David Feinberg from Google to please come to the stage, our judges, to present the Grand Prize Award.
So this was very difficult. We enjoyed all of them, and we saw the value proposition in every single presentation here today. But at the end of the day, we came together and consensus drew us to obviously one winner. And do you want to say it, David?
No, I don't. I want you to say it, Debbie. So I actually want to say that you mentioned to me, thank you, it was nice to give up a Sunday afternoon to come here. I learned so much. I know I'm speaking on behalf of the judges. Phenomenal presentations, incredible passion, great humility. I think everyone's a winner, but the winner is?
Peers.
That is Steve Chan, who is capturing that moment. Steve Chan, who is the co-chair of the Committee on Innovation. Thank you, Steve, for that play-by-play. So you might not have gotten the second date, but you did win the award, so I hope that makes it worth it.
We're honestly really shocked and speechless, so sorry if we're a little ineloquent. We all are so excited. We really believe in this program and connecting medical trainees across this country to help fight symptoms of burnout and to create a community of physicians who are there for each other throughout medical training. And we really cannot thank you enough for supporting this. And we're so excited to be part of a community that is thinking about innovation in psychiatry and what the field will look like moving forward. Anyone else feel?
So I'm a medical student. I'm a third year, currently on my surgery rotation. This was such a treat to be able to come to San Francisco and be a part of this. And I know that I'm going into the right field of psychiatry because all of you are investing in something that is healing all of medicine. We need this so badly, and to be able to do it from this positive perspective, we're not problem solving, we're really finding the opportunities, is such an honor, and we are so grateful.
Yeah, I am shocked and so just filled with gratitude. Thank you so much. I also just want to say that I was so amazed by everybody who presented up here today. We really didn't think we were going to win because we were so amazed by all the cool things that everybody is doing. So thank you all.
The last thing I just want to say is that in addition to the issues facing all of us medical students and physician trainees, that there are specific groups of people that are disproportionately impacted by this, whether that be women, people of color, the queer community, people with disabilities, and we want to make sure that we highlight those voices because a lot of what we talked about was how this is the the community piece is both being there for one another, but also making sure that we're advocating for structural change. And we believe that that happens through starting conversations. And we feel so privileged to be here where we can start that conversation with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. After we do a picture with this group and with their innovation leaders, we're going to ask all the finalists and innovation leaders to come to stage for a big group picture. As we're asking everyone else to come to stage, thank you everyone for coming to the 2019 Psychiatry Innovation Lab. We look forward to seeing you next year in Philadelphia. Yes, in Philadelphia. What's been great about this is that folks who were in the audience in the past have decided to became finalists in subsequent years. They joined our team and they became members of the committee. So we really look forward to hearing from you. Please reach out and find us afterwards. Email program@psych.org. Visit psychiatry.org/innovation to see more about this. Go to Tech for Psych on YouTube, where you're going to see all the videos from today, and connect with us. Thank you so much. Please keep in touch, and we'll see you in Philadelphia. Yes. Finalists, innovation leaders, judges, everyone on stage for a group picture.